Welcome to the Metal Mixtape here on KSKQ 89.5 FM Ashland, Oregon, 94.1 FM Medford, Oregon, streaming online on kskqdjramo. I am so happy and so honored to have one of the best singers in rock and roll and in music in general, the one and only Jeff Scott Soto. What is up, Jeff?
Dude, what an awesome intro. I swear to God, you should actually be a singer. I don't know if you know the song Stone Cold Crazy from Queen, but that intro you just did was as rapid fire as that vocal is on that song.
Well, you want to know something funny? I am a vocalist. I've been singing for 20 years, and the biggest show I ever got to play was supporting Anthrax in Oregon.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but I'm more of like a
Yeah, like I used to be when I was 19.
Well, I don't know, man. I don't know. When people say that when you have a natural high voice, you can do it, but I don't know, man. My balls just never drop,
Well, that's the thing. That the problem with that is when you're younger, you can do that all day, all night, all week, all year. You get older and you realize, oh my God, why did I do this to myself? Because now I'm in my 50s, I got to relive all that shit.
But that, we have so much to talk about, man. I literally had to spend like six to 7 hours just rehearing everything you did. I mean, I even like was watching down to like watching you do Dragon Attack with Brian May, because I love Queen. I mean, I went all the way back, was watching Rockstar all over again. I went all the way back with listening to Yngwie and Malmsteen, and you sing all the amazing songs that you did with them. But of course, we're going to talk about Art of Anarchy, Vilified, which is an absolutely amazing song, man. And you know what's crazy, Jeff? You've just had such an amazing career. You've been able to perform with some of the most amazing artists. Since this is my first time talking to you, before we get into Art of Anarchy, one of the things I like to know is just like, how did you get your start singing as a little kid? Like, did you have family that was already singing around you? Or did you pick up an instrument first? Did somebody hand you a record that blew your mind? Like when did it all happen in your head, Jeff? When it all just hit you, where this is something you might want to do for the rest of your life?
Well, yeah, it was certainly innate. It hit me at a very young age. I'm talking like maybe 6 to 7 probably. By then I knew this is what I want to do for a living. And yeah, both my mother and father were singers when they were young, and basically they had a family, and that kind of killed the dream. They realized got to make a living, got to put food on the table, so they didn't chase the dream. I pursued it because I just naturally knew I had it in me. I basically was a student of like Michael Jackson and Donny Osmond when they were a young singer.
Yeah.
And so that really is what started it all for me, because I look at them, they're kids, I'm a kid, if they can do it, I can do it. So I got the bug that early on. I knew from even that early on that was what I was going to pursue, and that was, and I've heard so many things about this business. It's a wacky business, it's unfair, it's a lot of sharks, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? There's an old saying that I learned a long time ago. You can only control the input, you can't control the output. So in other words, you can control everything you put into it, you can't control what you're going to get out of it. That's basically in the hands of everyone else that you're doing all this work for, and that's what kept me going.
No, that's incredible. Yeah, because you've had just such a magical career. Can you pinpoint a time where, when you're younger, first starting out, where you hit the stage where you felt like maybe you were a little different? Because the thing is you're just not a normal singer, man. You are an incredible singer. You can formulate your voice into so many type of styles and genres. Was there a time in one of your first stage performances where you were just like holy shit, Jeff, I'm getting a good crowd response, and I feel like I'm in my element?
I get that with every band and every situation I'm in, and a lot of that has to do, and thank you for the compliment, a lot of that has to do with that I'm so well-rounded in my influences. I grew up listening to everything from Prince, R&B, Motown, Michael Jackson, and all that, and then obviously the hard rock bands from Journey to Soto to Queen, and then to the heavier stuff like Priest and Maiden. I find myself pretty well-rounded as far as the stuff that influences many different situations because I needed to be able to throw out my creative output on so many different things. Mm-hmm. But I knew I couldn't just do them in one band. So let's say, for instance, I'm on stage with Yngwie. I'm missing the R&B soul side, and I'm on stage doing something that's more R&B soul. I'm missing the rock side. So every time I'm on stage, there's something missing in what I'm doing. And this is one of the reasons I love Queen so much because they tapped into every round of music, every form of music, blues, jazz, disco, funk, rock, heavy metal, opera, you name it, they tapped into it and they killed it. It was awesome. And I always wanted to be that kind of artist. And I still look at myself almost 40 years in the business as a work in progress.
I love it, man. It's so refreshing to hear that because it's like, did you ever, you were talking about how, you always had, you loved Queen because they tapped into so many styles. But, starting off in certain projects, you're always saying you had the urge to do something else. Did you ever have, not an identity crisis, but just kind of, you always felt like when you joined the project that, there was always something else you wanted to do? Because you mentioned that, how, you do a project, but then you're missing that R&B or you're missing that hardcore rock and roll. Before you were in a lot of these projects, did you have your own kind of project where you felt like maybe you're at your strongest?
Yeah, I would say Talisman was the closest to kind of absorbing and being able to utilize a lot of my influences because we started as more of an AOR melodic hard rock band. And as we went along, I started influencing Marcel Jacob, who was my partner in that band, with more of what I grew up with, and he was influencing me more of what he grew up with. So we had more of a well-rounded outfit when it came to that band. There aren't too many other things I've been able to do. I tried injecting that kind of blue-eyed soul with some other things as well, but it just doesn't work all the time. Talisman, I was able to really tap into all those different things.
No, that's amazing, man. Yeah, just, because the thing is, it's just, diving through your whole discography, I was just man, especially with Art of Anarchy, it's it's almost once again, you inherited, a whole another persona. I love it, man, because, when I hear all these genres, I can tell that you have, really high brain power.
I wouldn't go that far. But it's funny you bring this up, because my last solo album, I call the album Complicated, and people ask me, where I came up with the title, where obviously it was the name of one of the songs, that had nothing to do with the title of the album, but I like the way it sounded, because when I was doing interviews for that album, the album previous, one time a journalist asked me if I had to go to somebody, introduce Jeff Scott Soto and your music to somebody, and I had to describe what kind of artist you were. What would be the easiest way to describe you as an artist? And I said, it's complicated, man. And you can't. I don't fit in any particular one genre. And I'm proud of that. But again, it's a blessing and a curse because I don't have one lane to stay in, I can't really concentrate on that. And it would be pretty sad if I'm doing one lane for 4 years and the rest of the world still didn't know who I was. But by choosing so many different lanes, I've tapped into so many different. I read it all the time. If it wasn't for Stunt Apollo, I wouldn't know who Jeff is. If it was for Jeff's tenure and journey, I wouldn't know who Jeff is. So it's great to be able to go to sing for so many different people that listen to so many different styles of music and finally get them to know who I am and to discover who I am because they'll be pleasantly surprised that somewhere in that mix I got something for them.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, man. You hit it right on the button. I mean, before I even started doing my dive into your discography, I mean, I heard you from Yngwie, I heard you from Sons of Apollo, I heard you from Rockstar, being the voice of Steel Dragon and all that. So I as soon as I knew I was gonna talk to you, I was like, yes, Jeff Scott fucking Soto. So Jeff, just to dive in a little bit into Art of Anarchy. So one of the things I want to talk about is that Art of Anarchy used to have their singer Scott Whalen in the band, and Scott Whalen, he's an amazing singer, amazing stage presence, and so many amazing projects. how was your transition into the band, and how was the meeting like when like the band, you got brought in because your voice does so great for this, and it does the band so much justice. How was that whole interaction of bringing you in?
Well, thanks for that. To be honest with you, this was pretty much my idea, and it's just coincidence that the past two singers have the name Scott in their name. I thought it was funny that I'm the third Scott. The third Scott's a charm. But I brought it to the band, and that was the big difference I think from the other singers, the other two singers, is that they found them. They had the chorus or whatever it was. However, those guys got in the band, they had to work on getting those guys in. Whereas I got myself in because when we were starting Sons of Apollo in 2017, this is when the second the Art of Anarchy album had just come out, and there was already Trouble in Paradise, and I remember speaking to Ron about the situation, and it was pretty dismal even when the album came out, and he pretty much said, I think this is it. I don't think the band's going to continue. And I said, what a pity, it's because I love the music, and no disrespect to either Scott, I was never a fan of Stone Temple Pilots or Creed, but I loved what Art of Anarchy were doing musically, and I remember saying to Ron on the first Sons of Apollo tour, I said, what a pity. I mean, I would have loved to get my hands on this stuff to see what I would have sounded like on this stuff because it's right up my alley. So fast forward 2 years later, we're in a pandemic. I'm catching up with Ron, and it's the same thing. It's like, what a bummer. We're just catching up on everything, and he's talking about things that were going on with the band and lawsuits, etc. And again, I brought it up. I go, what a pity. I wish it was still going, that the guys would want it still be going because I would love to see what my voice would have sounded like doing this stuff. And he goes, well, let me talk to the twins, because the band is basically started by the twins and Ron. And he said, let me see what they say. He didn't even finish his sentence about me showing interest, and I was in the band. Without hearing one word, one song, one lyric, they automatically knew I would be a good fit because I was coming to them, and they weren't used to that. They loved the idea that somebody was actually showing interest in wanting to be in the band, as opposed to the situations that ended up the way they did with the past two singers. So that in itself was a different feeling from the jump. And then when we started writing together, we literally wrote like 2 albums worth of material before we decided it was time to get this thing out.
Dude, that's incredible, man. That's really that's like, I don't know, like 2 peas in a pod. I'm happy how that like really worked out, and it just it just really clicked right away.
Well, that's the thing, and the thing, another reason I kind of threw this in because it's an important reason. I knew early on that I needed to be in Ron Bumblefootball's. I need to be in his circle. I needed to, whatever happened in Sons of Apollo, whatever happened in both of our paths and careers and futures, I needed to be in that guy's musical circle. So the fact that we could kind of rehash something that was almost falling out of the ashes, which is Art of Anarchy, I'm actually still working with Ron, and we can progress and continue working together into the future.
Dude, that's fucking awesome. Yeah, no, Ron's the shit, dude. He kills it. No,
and when you think about it, I'm so blessed when you look at the body of work and the people I work with. I've worked with the best of the best. I'll even throw Brian May in that equation because I've done enough things with him, for him, etc. that I've worked with Brian May. I've worked with Neil Sean. I worked with Yngwie Malmsteen. I've worked with some of the best guitar players on the planet. So now I'm working with who I consider somebody that's just really in that plateau of Ron Bumblefootball is one of the best guitar players on the planet, and I just feel so blessed to work with somebody like that.
That's incredible, man. Now that we're this will be a question for later, but this is a question just off the top of my head. It's like, you worked with so many different guitar players and so many different styles of music. Like, did the lyrics ever come hard for you writing for different projects? Because, obviously, in different projects, there's different themes and different emotions. How was your mindset when you tackle a new project, and how do you come up with what you're going to sing about and how you feel inspired entering a new project?
I never, ever, ever have problems with lyrics because the lyrics kind of write themselves based on whatever the body of work, the actual song is actually, whatever the groove, whatever the style or vibe is, it tells me what's called for in the words, what's called for in the lyrics. So it's so easy to tap into so angry. The song sounds like it's kind of a retribution or a vengeful or revenge kind of song. So you write that kind of lyric. You listen to something that's sultry or ethereal. You can write that kind of lyric based on the actual style and the vibe that the song is actually telling you to write it. So that's never been. I'm more concerned about coming up with interesting melodies and things that stick, things that will resonate with people and they'll remember them. They'll be able to sing it. They'll want to sing it. The rest is so much. It's so easy for me and I try not to do throwaway lyrics. I don't write the I love you, you love me, together we make we. I don't do those kind of words. I always try to put something a little more poetic and prose when I write my lyrics. Even if it's something that's I want to rock and roll and I party every day, I try to put a little more substance behind those kind of lyrics these days.
I love it, man. I'm not gonna lie. When you brought that up, I thought about like 10 artists that pop in my head that constantly do that. And I'm just
and that's pretty much the formula. Besides just being yourself and trying to be as original as you can, because nothing's original anymore. We're basically just recycling, rehashing things that have been done already through the centuries. But once in a while, you tap into something that hasn't quite been done, or you're taking something else that has been done and you're putting your own twist on it, and everybody says, "Wow, I've never heard anything like this before." That's all originality is. It's twisting something that was already influenced, that's kind of already in your brain from somewhere else.
No, absolutely, man. Okay, I'm gonna ask you a couple different questions right now. One of them is, I've been singing, I've been playing guitar for 20 years, and I just want to hear kind of your take on each one of these guitar players. In like a one paragraph description, how would you describe Yngwie's personality and also working with him?
Yngwie's personality, I would say, is very fitting to his playing. It's frenetic. It's possibly misunderstood at times. It's and I never use the word arrogant with him because he's got such a strong personality that obviously it can come across as arrogant. It would come across the wrong way. His personality fits the level of how he writes, the level of how he plays. So I wouldn't expect anything less in terms of who he is and how he is based on how he plays and what he's been able to pioneer as a guitar player.
I love it. All right, and how was it working with Brian May and knowing that like you worked with somebody who also worked with Freddie Mercury and how was his work ethic and how was his personality when you were writing music with him and playing with him?
One of the things I love about Brian, and a lot of people don't know about him, or maybe they do. I haven't spoken to too many people that discuss this side of him. He's such a perfectionist, but he never gets perfection. He strives and strives and strives, and at one point he finally just has to let it go and goes, I could have done that so much better. I love that mentality because it just means you're not resting on your laurels. It means you're always pushing for better, pushing for great, pushing for majestic. He's always pushing for the best he can be, and by never feeling you're achieving it, you never feel fulfilled, and it makes you want to go that next level next time you go into something.
I love it. All right, same question about Neil Sean. How was it working with Journey? How was it working with him? And how was his personality like? And what's his work ethic like?
Neil's work, the guy is he's one of those natural talents. I mean, again, prodigy from the age of 14, 15 when he was joining Santana, and the success he was able to bring to Journey and the level of his playing. He's a guitar hero that gets way too little accolades in terms of he should be right along with the Eddie Van Halens and the Jimi Hendrix and the Jimmy Pages. He belongs in that level. It doesn't really get recognized as that because that guy's got the most melodic sense as a guitar player that I've ever heard in my life. I love his playing. I love what he contributed to Journey as much as what C. Perry did, and C. Perry is one of my favorite singers of all time. So to be part of his fold, to work with him when we did the Soul Circus record, it was so easy because he trusted me. He loved my voice. He loved what he'd heard previously to us working together. But when we worked together, he trusted my instincts the same way he trusted Perry's, and it was really awesome.
Yeah, I love that. So you know what? You did the voice of Steel Dragon. Also, there was other notable musicians like Zach Wilde, Jeff Pilson, and Jason Boehm. How do you describe Zach Wilde and his personality, his work ethic, and just the type of guy he is?
Zach, I always loved the old Zach because the party Zach was the fun Zach. Unfortunately, that started becoming the dangerous Zach in terms of his health. I never really saw him out of control in terms of being too drunk and being too frenetic and crazy. He was a fun drunk to be around, but unfortunately, when the doctor told him, hey, you keep drinking, you're dead in 6 months. And I remember talking to him about this. Geez, it was 11, 12 years ago, I think it was. He stopped drinking, and I said I'm so proud of that he was able to put everything down and concentrate on health. And I think it made him a better player. Number one, he's more fit, so he's able to continue doing what he's doing at the level he was doing it before. He's doing even more and just killing it. And I've always loved his playing. Doing the Rockstar thing is another proud moment in my life because knowing that he and the other guys in the band vouched for me when my name was dropped as potential singers that to kind of round up the recording for that album for the movie soundtrack, for him to say, he kind of went to bat for me. So I love him for that. Just to say, I love the guy. He's all across. I love his personality. He's wacky, kooky, but when he gets up there, he's just serious. He just smashes heads.
I fucking love it. Stupid random question. Did you ever get to meet Mark Wahlberg?
No, actually, because I went to the premiere of Rockstar, and I think he was there, but I don't think I was hoping to meet him at the after party. I didn't see him at the after party, and unfortunately, I didn't get to meet him. Well, I'm sure one day I will, and I wish I could say, hey, I was the voice that I provided your voice for the movie, but I provided the voice for the other actor in the movie, and Matina from Steelheart was the one that provided the voice for Mark.
That's awesome, dude. I love it, dude. It's been so awesome talking to you, Jeff. So also just today, just a random question that news that came up today that Mike Portnoy rejoined Dream Theater. What's your opinions on that? And working with such an amazing drummer.
Well, first of all, I'm pissed off at Mike because I consider us really good friends, and he did not tell me. That's going to be the main thing. Did you know? I honestly did not know. I felt it would or could happen eventually. I mean, how could it not? That's such an important band in rock history and his life that it would make sense for them at least to do one more go round. That's what I thought they might do. I didn't expect them to join the band full time again, which is it's great for Dream Theater fans. They're all elated and everybody's excited, and it makes perfect sense for us because I don't have to dodge the ever going question about what's next for Santo Apollo. There's nothing next for Santo Apollo, unfortunately. Everybody's moving forward. We're all moving on. I'm glad I decided to ask the guys to revamp Art of Anarchy because now I can start putting all my focus into this. I've got a few other coals in the fire, but for the most part, Sons of Apollo has probably seen its last moments. If maybe somewhere in the future we could reunite just to do some shows, just to have fun, like a NAMM show or one of these music trade shows. These guys are my friends. These are my brothers. I wish everybody well into the future, but obviously we all got to do, and I'm really excited mostly for the Dream Theater fans. I'm bummed for my buddy Mike Mangini.
I love Mike Mangini so much.
I love his playing. I love his personality. He talks a little funny, but I don't think they'll hold that against him. But he's an amazing drummer. But I know he's always bounced back. He's always he's played with so many greats through his career and life. And Dream Theater was a great vehicle for him, and I know he'll bounce back and he'll continue doing what he does best. So in the end, I think it's a win-win for everybody. And like I said, I put my own post this morning that basically I hope all the music trade magazines or sites pick up on this, what I'm actually saying right now, which is what I said. Now I don't have to dodge or sugarcoat the whole what's going on with Sons of Apollo thing anymore because it's obvious that the band won't be continuing anytime in the future.
Absolutely. Well, you know what, Jeff? You're such a virtuoso, and I'm looking forward to the rest of Art of Anarchy. Everybody around the world, check out the single Vilified. Jeff, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you for spending time with me today. It's always a dream come true when I get to talk, to rock stars. I've been at this since I was 14. I'm 34, and even like getting ready to do these interviews.
Oh my God, you're an embryo.
Hey, I got kids, man, and I'm like, I got super long hair, but it's all super white. I'm like Gandalf, dude.
Wait, how old are you again?
I'm 34.
Okay, so you're 2 years younger than my son, so you're a baby.
Well, Jeff, it's been such a pleasure. Before I let you go, can you say this is Jeff Scott Soto, and you are listening to the Metal Mixtape?
Metal Mixtape?
Yep, the Metal Mixtape.
This is Jeff Scott Soto, and you are listening to the Metal Mixtape. Turn it up, baby.
Hell yeah, brother. You have a great rest of your day, great rest of your interviews, and I can't wait to post this on YouTube and air this on the radio next week. Thank you so much, and I appreciate your time.
Right on. Thank you for taking your time as well.
Thank you, brother. Bye.
All right, bye-bye.